Good evening. Welcome back to Tribalization of America. I'm Jim.
And I'm Argyle.
Good to
What are you
see you.
drinking on tonight?
Here we go.
What's our signature beverage?
Well, we're going to have to actually come up with some kind of drink instead of just pouring brown liquor. But you went with Elijah Craig. I am
The Elijah
doing
Craig night.
the double oak Woodford.
Oh, lovely. Nice choice. I only got the Elijah Craig because it came as part of a Christmas pack for
I
about
like Elijah Craig.
Yeah, I mean I like it a lot. It's a great regular drink, but it had a Christmas pack that had a walnut syrup to make uh old fashions.
Old fashions, yeah.
And it
Nice.
was the same price as a regular bottle of Elijah Craig. So I'm like, well, you can't
Bonus,
beat that. So I was like,
right?
Merry Christmas in October. Right? Thank you very much. I tried to buy a couple of them. A couple of days later, I was like, maybe I should stock up on those because I've got friends that might. I went back like 2 days later. They were like, yeah, we sold out. I'm like, dude, it's October. Like,
It is.
come on. You put all the Christmas gifts out in October? Like, come on. Anyway, so
So we've had socially a very interesting week, and
yes,
right,
absolutely.
uh, I um I have to say that I'm still processing it personally, but we've just completed election day. I know that we exercised our right to vote, and I hope everybody that's listening did the same, because it's a privilege, and I don't know. I would say an obligation, but that has a negative connotation. But I think that if you want things to progress in a manner that you think is productive, you do your research and you select the candidate that's proper for your tribe.
Right.
And that leads into holistically as a result of what transpired and tribalization in this country. Let's take a peek at what we think happened with
You want to
that.
dive into the week?
We do
Because
it.
I'm prepared.
Look at that.
Yeah, because
Wow.
I knew that Jim would ask this question. I knew he would ask the question. So this is my list of tribes that took a hammer to the knees this week.
Oh,
Right?
oh,
In other words, groups that Tanya Hardin doesn't like. Okay. Right. So at the top of the list,
all
I
right.
have the Aaron Rodgers Packers tribe. Because I don't know if
Oh,
he knows, Aaron Rodgers has been off the farm, and I don't know. He did an interview on some sports network where he was going on and on about how he's the two-time defending MVP, and basically he was like, "Back up off me because I'm the MVP." And
oh, wow.
they were like, "Yeah, but dude, right now you suck, right?" So we don't really care that you're the defending MVP, reigning MVP, because you're not going to be the MVP this year. You and the Packers suck, right? So that
So
tribe,
that's a living in the past tribe.
the living in the past tribe, took a hit this week. Next on the list is the Nick Saban Road Tide tribe, right? So if you ever listen to the guys on ESPNU radio where they talk about football,
Yeah,
every morning now they are playing Hail to the King, calling
really.
Kirby Smart the new king of college football. Every
Oh,
morning they play Hail to the King, saying, Nick Saban, you've got to turn over that crown. You're no longer the king coach of college football. It now belongs to Kirby Smart in Georgia. So the Road Tide tribe took a hit this week.
they did that could have been the wooden stake in the heart of that tribe because for whatever reason that normally they can bounce back making the SEC championship game, right?
Yeah.
And then it goes ugly from there.
Yeah.
But for them, it goes well.
For us that are not part of the tribe, right? It's really ugly quickly, right? Exactly. Yeah. So, and then the next tribe is the Kanye West or Ye
Yay,
tribe.
yeah.
Ye. Not sure why he calls
Well,
himself.
when you're getting escorted out of Skechers, that's the problem. Uh, that's
I don't know the story. What happened?
Oh, he showed up at the Skechers headquarters unannounced. Uh, Wanted to talk to them about a deal, and they had security
Skechers?
escort him out. Yeah, at
The
Skechers.
shoes for old people?
Yes,
Wow. So when Adidas abandons you,
right. This was
well,
after that.
look, they do have Joe Montana as a spokesperson, so maybe he was thinking,
Yeah.
wow, I was not aware of that.
Oh, I'm glad I
And
got
if
to
you're,
tell you
let's
that.
be real, if you're Skechers, do you really want to escort Kanye out? Couldn't you take the meeting? It's Kanye.
No,
You
no,
can't take the meeting?
you know they can't take the meeting.
You
Th-
wouldn't let
All right.
Kanye come in. If you were the president of Skechers, Jim, you wouldn't, and Kanye showed up. Kanye West shows
Uh-huh.
up at the office, right? It's
I'm
not like
telling you, the
it's
members
Johnny Manziel. It's Kanye West. And he
the
showed
members of their tribe don't even know who Kanye West is.
up. That's very true. That's probably true.
Well, why?
Guarantee you Joe
Why?
Montana's not banging the Kanye in his car.
No, no. Now, if you know, oh, if Deion Sanders, or you're in a totally different level.
I got a Dion surprise for you later. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. You're saying if it's Deion Sanders,
yeah,
okay.
Bo Jackson.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah. That's true. Not Kanye.
no,
You're giving Kanye the Heisman, is what you're saying.
exactly.
Sorry, Kanye. Sorry. All
Oh,
right. I don't know.
they treated him like, someone who snuck in the backstage door at a bar. You were on your way out the
I
front
did
door.
not know that. I'm gonna have to look that up after this, man. That's crazy.
Follow
Is there a
BBC
video?
America on Instagram. You
There it
would get
is.
that.
That's very true. Wow. Yeah. That's I'm gonna have to look that up. It's on the BBC website. I'll have
Yes,
to.
it is. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right. Next on the list is the Kyrie Irving tribe, or the New York Nets fans. And you know about Kyrie.
Yeah, that's on my local news. So I don't follow NBA, but that has been on my local news. Yes.
Yeah, that tribe's definitely taking a hit. The Elon Musk tribe took
Mm.
a hit, or in other words, the Twitter staff, because because Elon went adios 86, pushing up daisies. Here's your pink slip to the people at Twitter. And then last but not least, which is the one that I know you're dying to, the last tribe that took a hammer to the knees this week was the Voldemar, because I don't like to say his name, MAGA tribe, or in other words, the red tsunami that fizzled tribe, which is directly tied to yesterday's election, right?
Yeah, yeah. Now I will definitely I'll definitely run with that, because there's a couple of things that are, to me, very interesting. I actually know a number of people, now on the older side, which is even more surprising when I say this, didn't vote. They
What?
Nope, they said this is all screwed up. I'm sick of it. I don't even feel like I can do anything, and they didn't vote. Then I have people of my daughter's age, all their friends, every last one of them voted.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And the and that's just an
Yeah.
observation. I don't know how pervasive that was on the older side.
Apparently,
Obviously, on the younger side,
apparently,
they
apparently,
they
the under 30 vote
they
was
came
huge.
out, which
Yeah,
just is so encouraging in
it really
general.
is. It really is, because they're way ahead of the game than we are, right? In
Yeah,
terms of their acceptance of what's right, and all those things
And
we
also
should care about.
they do research because they're so used to being everything on your in your
Right to.
hand, and you can do the research quickly. They know where
Right.
to find it. They can make the decisions. And then in general, it seemed like tribes did a reflection on themselves on
Right.
both sides,
Right.
on the extreme sides.
Right.
Let's not elect kooks on
Right.
both sides.
Right. Right. Right.
And they
Because
shouldn't.
clearly those tribes, the ones you've talked about, that
Wait,
and make a very good reference in the last thing about how they actually are touching each other on the
yep,
other end, both so far on the extreme. But because for this election, it seems like they were like, hey, let's back up the clown car and run people for office, right?
yep,
And that group, that under 30 group, was like, we're not buying the clown show.
yeah.
We're not voting for Bozo. Like,
The extremism isn't getting us anywhere.
so rewarding to have
So
seen.
that was so refreshing
Yeah,
and um, honestly unexpected at certain levels
by
to me.
everybody. Right, by everybody. Yeah,
And it really gives us hope. Now, I still think uh, tribalization hasn't come together. I
right.
just think that in a moment of clarity
Clarity. Yeah,
over here,
yeah.
clarity started to move here, and
Hmm.
that actually, bodes well to maybe um, closing the gap.
Yeah.
But I still think we
We got a
still
long way to
are
go.
very separated
We got a
by
long way to go. Yeah,
long way to go
we got
because
a
of
long way
our
to go.
sources of information and things of that nature.
Yeah, I saw a post by someone who is and I don't know if I would call this person a friend, but we're social media acquaintances, and we've always agreed on maybe 25 or 30%. And it's
Okay.
always the good stuff. And we disagree on the other 70. But this person clearly watches Fox News, right?
Oh, okay.
Um, and so they post,
Exclusively. Do you think exclusively?
I think 85%. And it's one of those people who would never admit it, because when you challenge them on some of their beliefs, I'm like, where'd you hear that crap? Right. And they're like, oh, Fox. I'm like, oh, but you do watch other things. No, I watch everything. One of those people, but that they watch Fox News, right? And I'm pretty sure it's because her husband watches Fox News, and those things happen. Spouses
Just
typically,
stays on TV.
yeah, and spouses typically follow spouses, right? But she posted something about Fetterman,
Okay.
and she talked about how stupid he was because of his inability to finish a sentence,
Mm,
right?
all
And
right.
I was like, well, he had a stroke, right? And the reason that he has a problem speaking is because he had a stroke. It's not because he's dumb. The man had a stroke 6 months ago, right? But she had no clue because her tribe's news outlet doesn't report it that way.
Oh, no
Now,
kidding.
yeah, I mean,
No, but I mean, just
she was
not knowing that it
she had
seemed
no
pretty
clue.
public.
She just thought she was like, is this what this country's come to? That we vote a man in that can't finish a sentence and because he's this stupid guy. And I was like, no, he's not. He had a stroke. Like, he had a stroke. Now, that also speaks to the other tribe. It's like, you know what? We would rather vote for a guy who might have to use a pencil and a machine to speak to us rather than to vote in this other guy from the other tribe. So it's on both sides, right?
Because that does speak to some brain damage. Let's just be clear on that. You have a stroke, you can't speak. There is brain damage.
Well, yeah, but the way she was saying it, it was kind of like he was born this way,
Yeah, yeah.
and
No,
he
I
didn't
get
go to
that.
school. That was kind of how she was positioning
Yeah.
it. Right,
Hmm.
because you're right. There obviously is, he's having some challenges, but I responded to her he had a stroke. First of all, he had a stroke. This is how we started out. Yeah, he had a stroke. And so we got into that dialogue. And then I was like, yeah, but at the end of the day, the other candidate is who the other candidate is. He doesn't even live in the state. So how can you trust your state? How can you trust your representative to represent you when he lives in New Jersey? Like, so regardless of which tribe you want to be in, like, don't you think there's something wrong with that? I would almost rather vote for my multi-poo than to vote for the carpetbagger who lives in another state, who's just going to go do the bidding of that far, far, far right tribe.
Well, I think that that speaks to the earlier point that people gave some thought and character counted in
Absolutely.
this because, all right,
Except for Florida.
well, we can go there, but I'm
Rubio
gonna
won,
say
and
that.
Rubio is half the candidate of the person he ran against. Rubio won.
Well, all right,
Rubio won.
I'm going back to the Fetterman thing.
All right,
So
okay, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead, but Florida,
because you had you had him and his intentions and his um well his stated intentions and his past performance with his office that he had in the state spoke to, I'm working for the people of the state.
right.
And that at a premise is something that you would want at
Yeah,
at a base level.
right. Versus the guy
Now,
who lives off of
right?
exit
And
68.
then apparently the other story I heard was that um, Oz has a dual citizenship with, I don't even know what country, but whatever his homeland
Bizarro world.
is not a friend of the United States. I don't know which country it is. And he stated that he wouldn't relinquish that citizenship unless he won. And the
Right.
Senate race. And I
Look,
guess at that point you're obligated to.
I
But
heard I heard this on another media outlet where they were like, Oprah came out against Oz, right?
I did see that.
And Oprah launched Oz. She created Oz. And they were
Yep.
like, that's kind of like Robin's running for office, right? And Batman is like, I'm going to endorse the Joker, right? Because
Well,
I can't support this dude.
running for office to represent a group of people is very different than business partners or
Being on TV with somebody, yeah.
right, being on TV with someone
But I would vote for you.
putting you, that would be a bad mistake.
I would totally vote for you. Like, I know that at the end of the day, we talked about this before. At the end of the day, I think at its core, I think 70% of us, right? Maybe 60% of us want the same thing. Or maybe it's 80% of us. We want the same things. We want adequate. We don't like to pay taxes. Nobody likes to pay taxes.
Right.
Democrats don't like to pay taxes.
But am I getting value for my taxes?
And if I'm paying taxes, am I getting value for it, right?
If I'm not, why am I paying?
Why am I paying them, right?
Ridiculous.
Right. Speaking of which, did you know if you won $1.9 billion in the lottery, in the Powerball, that netted out, you would only end up with like $485 million?
Yeah, but it's free money no matter how you slice it. So
I wouldn't complain. I wouldn't be like, oh, keep it. But I'm just saying that the hype, don't believe the hype. Like, you tell me I'm getting $2 billion, but I end up with 450 million because of all my taxes. So to get back to the point, we don't like to pay taxes. We all want the opportunity to educate ourselves, right? We all want healthcare. We all want safe neighborhoods.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Like, we all want to be able to earn a decent living for a decent day's work.
Yep.
Right? We all want our kids and ourselves, to be able to go to college and not pay a whole lot of money. Right? So when you look at it, we all want the same things in the like. There's a group of us in the middle that all want the same things, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But but these other tribes kind of are the ones that are
Well,
making the most noise, right?
but yeah, yep, they do. I don't know if they just have more time or what, but the other side of that, the even the tribes that you would consider socially radical, I don't care what side, just say socially radical.
Right.
All those elements that you stated that everyone's interested in, I think they have a myriad of reasons why it's not their fault that they don't have that, or it's somebody's fault that they can't get
Yeah.
get it. They
Yeah.
can't get a safe neighborhood. They can't move forward in their career. They can't get good um, education, and then you have to evaluate, is there any validity on that end? And if there is, are we reconciling it, or it's just we decided they're outside the bell curve and they're just going to stay out there, which is interesting in to itself, just from a capitalistic society perspective, because you know not everyone can have everything at the same level.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think the statistics will show that it's the crux of the whole argument. And I know I make people uncomfortable when I say this, but I think at the very foundation of all of this is race in our country. Because I think
Mhm.
racism is the original, racism and slavery is the original sin. And I think a lot of that
Yeah.
boils down to our inability to reconcile what slavery did to built the nation and those people that benefited from that, and what it has done to large groups of people who have kind of been under the thumb of that. I was at a meeting tonight with a bunch of business leaders and community leaders here in the city where I live, and they brought real statistics. This one organization brought
Hmm.
real statistics about people who are in poverty have a certain set of conditions that ails them, and it becomes almost impossible to get out of those conditions because they don't have the social or business networks to do so, which is why
Hmm.
poverty becomes a generational, a multi-generational thing, which is
Hmm.
directly tied to access, which is directly tied to slavery. Because at the end of the day, you know, I drive by some of these farms in the state that I'm in, and I look at them people and I'm like, the only reason that you have 40,000 acres is because your daddy's daddy had free labor for a couple of 100 years. And so, and that's just the reality of it. But when you wrap all of that around, this tribe doesn't want to talk about it. They brand it as critical race theory, and this tribe brands it as affirmative action, and this tribe brands it as whatever they brand it at. That it becomes impossible to have a conversation about equity, because it's really not about equality. We spend a whole lot of time in this country talking about equality, and a lot of the tribes talk about equality and this and the other, but it's really about equity. And there are large groups of this country that have been shut off to equity because of race and the history of our country. And that's just how it is. Like,
Yeah,
just
no, I
across.
agree with that, and
Sorry
I'll
about
take.
the diatribe. I'm going to pour a drink and shut up.
I am going to again take the optimistic focus on this one, and go ahead and point to the largest voting group in this past election, who is, I think, by far uh, the a generation that is as colorblind as you could ever
Any
want.
generation before them. Yeah.
Everyone,
Color and
not
gender
only
blind.
color,
Color,
gender,
gender, yeah.
the whole
Religion.
enchilada.
Yeah. Yeah.
It, you talk to, you started speaking to the large majority of them about, you know, judging someone by the way they look versus their actions, and they look at you like you have three heads.
That's true. But it's very true. And you're right. The interesting thing about that is that I my opinion, uh, in my honest opinion, IMHO, in my honest opinion, a lot of what we're going through right now is a result of that old guard watching this young guard and thinking, wait a minute, they're trying to take my bacon. And I don't want to give
Mhm.
up my bacon. So I'm going to create an authoritarian government that takes those rights. I'm going to control the courts that will keep them from being able to take my bacon. And I think that's what we're living through. It is
I
still my opinion.
I'm gonna print the shirts. Stop voting for old white men. That
Right.
is my shirt.
And honestly, I mean, you know, and you know, we try to stay away. We try to keep this lighthearted, but you know, there are guys in Congress right now who are so old that when they were 10 years younger than we are now, they lived in an America where they were still turning dogs and fire hoses on people of color.
Mhm.
And their wives had to come to them to ask for permission to get a credit card. Did you know that until like 1978, if you were married to a man and you were a woman and you wanted a credit card, you had to get his permission?
Yep, you couldn't
That's
get it on your own.
crazy.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
crazy. And so there are people still voting for laws in this country that lived during that era. And they're going to do everything they can to protect
Well,
it.
I am gonna dig up this fact that I've read recently on the percentage of um, government leaders in the US that are under 30, and comparatively speaking with a lot of other nations across the world, specifically in first world countries like Europe and things. And it was very interesting. I can't remember specifics, but I know I can get it for next episode, and I'll bring that up because it's it's generationally how you think.
Right. Yeah.
And, I think it's time to pass the torch and
Yeah.
get on board with the way the world works and should think these days.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, you know, there are some things that are not so fun about it, right?
Right?
I mean, you know, it's very similar to the fact that you can't drive in some south, I guess it would be eastern states, Middle Eastern states, uh,
Hmm.
in East Coast, but kind of in the middle, without getting a speeding camera, send you a ticket in the mail, right? And that
Right.
sucks because half the fun of life used to being able to like get away with stuff occasionally, right? Not major stuff, but yeah, it was the speed limit was 25 and I did 45 through that zone, right?
Yeah. And now you just paid a
Because
hundred
you and I
dollars.
like to drive fast, right? I've been on the track with you before. So, you know, but now you get a ticket in the mail. And you know what? That sucks. But the reality of it is it's probably the right thing to do to not go 45 through a neighborhood with kids. And the fact that technology has forced us to learn a new way, it's probably a good thing for everybody that drives the speed limit through those speed traps. And it's probably the same thing with where we're going socioeconomically in this country, right?
I like
Sucks for
that.
some people, but it's great for everybody else.
Yeah. All right. Well, we uh we still have a balance of power, and it'll be interesting to see where, at the end of the day, after these runoff elections and everything else,
Yeah,
these old people are going to take us
yeah.
until younger people come in and want to deal with this type of environment. And that takes a lot of guts. You don't see a lot of people from Stanford and Harvard going running for election. All right.
because the people from Stanford smart and Harvard are smart.
Right.
They don't want to touch that ever, 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 ever again.
All right.
Well,
Well, this will conclude another episode of
yeah,
Tribalization in America. We got through an election day.
I was going to ask you our moments question,
All right.
just so that the people can get to know Jim a little bit better than they do already.
Oh,
Here's a
no
question.
one's interested in that. But go ahead.
What's a favorite memory from when we were dating and what? Yeah, that's a bad question. We've never dated. I'm sorry.
No.
It's clearly a couple's question. So, all right. All right. Here it is. So, if you could master any instrument on earth, what would it be? If you could master any instrument on earth, what
Oh,
would it
that
be?
would be an easy one for me. That's a guitar.
The guitar. Because the dudes with the guitars always get the chicks,
Yep,
right? When
without
you're
a doubt.
single, without a doubt, you
You're
could be
instantly cool.
butt ugly and play a guitar and hum a little and sing a little bit, and all the girls will huddle
You're
around you.
golden.
Yes, I there was a guy, can't remember this guy's name, when I was at the school I went to at Penn, and this guy would show up in the lobby of this one dorm, and there was a piano in the lobby, and he would start playing the piano, and girls would huddle around, and we would basically leave because we felt like such losers because they were so in love with the fact that he could play an instrument. And I've seen the guitar work 10 times better than a piano. Totally understand. And I've got a couple of guitars in the house because a couple of my kids play guitar, but yeah, might as well be coat racks for me because I can't do anything with them. Seriously.
All right. Well, you know what? We're gonna play that game with you next episode.
Okay. All right. Well, hey man, always good to see you. And I agree with
Absolutely.
you. I'm really happy that that America stood up this week.
I think it was very, very hopeful.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And I avoided the whole Florida thing. All right.
You did. All right.
Goodbye, everyone. Enjoy.
Good week. See you next week.